Then the Lord God said to Moses, I will make you like God to the king, and Aaron, your brother, will speak for you like a prophet. You will tell Aaron everything I command, and he will speak to the king, asking him to let the Israelites leave his land. But I will make the king stubborn, and I will do many miracles and amazing things in Egypt. The king will not listen to you, but I will bring a terrible punishment on him, and I will lead out of Egypt my armies, that is, the people of Israel. When I raise my hand against the Egyptians and bring the Israelites out from among them, the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord. Moses and Aaron did everything just as the Lord had commanded. When they spoke to the king of Egypt, Moses was 80 years old, and Aaron was 83. The Lord God said to Moses and Aaron, If the king of Egypt tells you to do a miracle, you, Moses, will tell Aaron to take the staff and throw it on the ground in front of the king. The staff will turn into a snake. Then Moses and Aaron went to meet the king and did as the Lord had commanded. Aaron threw the staff down in front of the king and his officials, and the staff turned into a snake. Then the king summoned the wise men and the magicians, and with their magic they did the same thing. Each one threw down his magician's staff, and they turned into snakes. But Aaron's staff swallowed their magician's staffs. However, as the Lord had said, the king remained stubborn and did not listen to the request of Moses and Aaron. Then the Lord God said to Moses, The king is stubborn and does not want to let the people leave Egypt. Go to him tomorrow morning. And he goes to the Nile River. Take the staff that turned into a snake and wait for the king on the riverbank. And say to him the following, The Lord, the God of the Hebrews, sent me to tell you to let his people go to worship him in the desert. But until now, you have not obeyed the command of God. Therefore, God says that because of what he is going to do now, you will know that he is God, the Lord. O king, now I am going to strike the water of the river with this staff I am holding, and the water will turn into blood. The fish in the river will die, and the river will smell so bad that the Egyptians will be disgusted to drink its water. The Lord also said to Moses, Tell Aaron to take the staff and stretch out his hand over the rivers, canals, the wells, and the reservoirs, so that their waters will turn into blood. There will be blood even in wooden bowls and stone jars. Moses and Aaron did as the Lord had commanded, in front of the king. And his officials, Aaron raised the staff and struck the river, and the water turned into blood. The fish died, and the river smelled so bad that the Egyptians could not drink its water. And there was blood throughout all Egypt. But with their magic, the magicians of Egypt did the same thing. And so the king remained stubborn. As the Lord had said, he did not listen to the request of Moses and Aaron. On the contrary, returned to his palace without caring about what had happened. All the Egyptians dug holes on the riverbank to get clean water, because they could not drink from the river's water. And 7 days passed after the Lord God struck the waters of the river. Chapter 8. Then the Lord God said to Moses, Go speak to the king, and say that the Lord is saying to him the following, Let my people leave the country, so they may worship me. If you do not let them go, I will punish your country by covering it with frogs. The Nile River will be full of frogs, and they will come out of it and enter the king's palace, into his bedroom, on his bed, into the houses of his officials and of his people, even into the ovens and kneading bowls. The frogs will jump on you, on your people, and on all your officials. The Lord God also said to Moses, Tell Aaron to stretch out his staff over the rivers, the canals, and the ponds, and make the frogs come out of the waters and cover the land of Egypt. Then Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt. The frogs came out of the waters and covered the whole country. But the magicians, with their magic arts, did the same thing. They also brought frogs onto the land of Egypt. Then the king called Moses and Aaron and said to them, Ask the Lord God to free me and my people from these frogs, and I will let your people go and offer sacrifices to him. I will gladly carry your request. Tell me when the Lord wants me to ask God on your behalf, on behalf of your officials and your people, so that the frogs will disappear from your palace and the houses and remain only in the river. Pray for me tomorrow. O king, I will do as you asked, and so the Lord will make it known that there is no other God like the Lord our God, the Lord. Your officials and your people will be free from the frogs. Only in the Nile River will there be frogs. Moses and Aaron left the king's palace. Then Moses asked the Lord God to remove the frogs he had sent against the king. and the Lord granted his request. The frogs that were in the houses, courtyards, and fields died. The Egyptians gathered many heaps of frogs, and a terrible smell spread throughout the whole country. When the king saw that the frogs had died, he continued being stubborn, just as the Lord had said, and did not listen to the request of Moses and Aaron. The Lord God said to Moses, "Tell Aaron to strike the ground with his staff, so that all over Egypt the dust will turn into lice." And Aaron struck the ground with the staff. All the dust in Egypt turned into lice, which covered the people and the animals. The magicians tried to produce lice, but they could not, and the people and the animals remained covered with lice. Then the magicians said to the king, "It was God who did this." But the king remained stubborn, just as the Lord had said, and did not listen to the request of Moses and Aaron. The Lord God said to Moses, "Tomorrow morning, when the king goes to the riverbank, go speak to him and say that I, the Lord, have sent this message to him. Let my people leave the country so they may worship me. If you do not let them go, I will send flies to punish you, your officials, and your people. The houses of the Egyptians will be full of flies, and the ground will be covered with them. But on that day I will set apart the region of Goshen, where my people live, so that there will be no flies there. Thus you will know that I, the Lord, am here in this land. I will make a distinction between my people and your people. This miracle will happen tomorrow," and God, the Lord, did so. And large swarms of flies entered the king's palace and the houses of his officials. And because of the flies, there was much damage throughout Egypt. Then the king called Moses and Aaron and said, "Go offer sacrifices to your God, but do it here in Egypt." That would not work, because the animals we offer in sacrifice to the Lord our God are sacred to the Egyptians. If they see us killing the animals they worship, surely they will stone us to death. We must walk 3 days into the desert to reach the place where we will offer sacrifices to the Lord our God, as he himself commanded us. If you do not go too far, I will let you go into the desert to offer sacrifices to the Lord your God. Pray also for me. As soon as I leave here, I will pray to God so that these swarms of flies leave the Lord, your officials, and your people. But the Lord must not deceive us again by forbidding the people to go offer sacrifices to God, the Lord." Then Moses left the palace and prayed to God, the Lord. The Lord did what Moses had asked. He made the flies leave the king, his officials, and his people. Not one single fly remained. But still, this time the king remained stubborn and did not let the people go. Chapter 9. The Lord God said to Moses, "Go speak to the king and say that the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, says the following: Let my people leave the country in order to worship me. For if you do not let them go and continue to prevent them from leaving, I will punish you with a horrible disease that will strike all your animals, that is, the horses, the donkeys, the camels, the cattle, the sheep, and the goats. I will make a distinction between the animals of the Israelites and those of the Egyptians, and not one of the animals of the Israelites will die. I, the Lord, have set a time. I will do this tomorrow." The next day, the Lord did as he had said, and all the animals of the Egyptians died. However, none of the animals of the Israelites died. The king sent to see what had happened and was informed that not one of the animals of the Israelites had died. Even so, the king remained stubborn and did not let the people go. Then the Lord God said to Moses and Aaron, "Take handfuls of ashes from a furnace and let Moses throw that ash into the air in front of the king of Egypt. It will spread like fine dust over all the land of Egypt. And everywhere the ash will produce boils that will open into sores on people and animals." So Moses and Aaron took ashes and stood before the king. Moses threw the ash into the air, and it produced boils that turned into sores on people and animals. The magicians could not appear before Moses, because they and all the other Egyptians were covered in boils. But the Lord God made the king continue to be stubborn. As the Lord had told Moses, the king did not listen to the request of Moses and Aaron. The Lord God said to Moses, "Tomorrow morning go meet the king, and say to him that the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, says the following: Let my people leave the country in order to worship me. For this time I will make all my plagues fall upon you, upon your officials, and upon your people, so that you may know that in all the world there is no one like me. If I had struck you and your people with disease, you would have already been completely destroyed. But I am letting you live to show you my power and to make my name known throughout the whole world. You still remain proud and do not want to let my people go. However, Tomorrow at this time, I will bring a hailstorm so strong as never before in all the history of Egypt. Therefore now, send to gather your cattle and everything you have in the field. If the people and animals that are in the field do not come home when the hail falls, they will all die." Some of the king's officials were afraid of what the Lord had said and brought their slaves and their animals into shelters. But those who did not pay attention to what the Lord had said left their slaves and their animals in the fields. Then the Lord God said to Moses, "Raise your hand to the sky, and hail will fall over all the land of Egypt. It will fall upon the people, upon the animals, and upon all the plants in the field." Moses raised his staff to the sky, and the Lord sent thunder, lightning, and hail upon the country. He caused a heavy hailstorm to fall over all Egypt, and the hail and lightning struck continually. This was the worst storm that Egypt had ever had in all its history. In all of Egypt, the hail destroyed everything that was in the field, including people and animals. It destroyed all the plants and broke all the trees. Only in the region of Goshen, where the Israelites lived, the hail did not fall. Then the king sent for Moses and Aaron and said, "This time I have sinned. The Lord God is righteous, and my people are guilty. Pray to the Lord. Enough of thunder and hail. I will let you go. You don't need to wait any longer." Moses replied, "When I leave the city, I will raise my hands in prayer to God the Lord. The thunder will stop, and there will be no more hail. This is so that the Lord, O king, may know that the earth belongs to God. But I know that you and your officials still do not fear God the Lord. The flax and the barley were destroyed. For the barley was already in the ear, and the flax was in bloom. But the wheat and the spelt were not destroyed, for they had not yet sprouted." After having been with the king, Moses left the city and raised his hands in prayer to God the Lord. Then the thunder, the rain, and the hail stopped. But when the king saw that it had stopped raining and there was no more thunder or hail, he sinned again. He and his officials continued to be stubborn. And as the Lord had said through Moses, the king did not let the Israelites go.